me get on to the real reason why I'm here, to introduce our keynote speaker, Miss Jana J. Edmondson Cooper. She is a bilingual federal prosecutor with the U.S. Department of Labor's Office of the Solicitor. She has her own consulting firm, Edmondson Consulting, LLC. She is a former legal interpreter and legal aid attorney. She also works to alleviate language access as an access to justice issue. Ms. Edmondson Cooper's work has been recognized by Governor Nathan Deal of Georgia, the National Bar Association, and the American Bar Association, specifically for her broad range of high achievements, vision, and leadership. Please welcome Spelman College and Mississippi College School of Law alum, Ms. Jana J. Edmondson Cooper.
Good morning. Good morning. Ooh, y'all gonna have to turn it up, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm a new mommy, got a 5-month-old, so my energy is depending on your energy. So we're gonna try it again. Good morning. Good morning. All right, that's better. Well, thank you to Evangeline Mitchell for having me here. I appreciate it. I also want to give a nod to Liz Broadway Brown, who, as you all already know, is the president of the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, GABWA, of which I am also a proud member. Very biasedly, I will tell you, we are the best state bar organization here. And if you intend to practice in Georgia, I encourage you to please join GABWA. GABWA is not just for women, but for any person who believes in the mission. And so I encourage you to do that. Joining GABWA was one of the single most best decisions I did to invest in myself as a young professional. You can pay me later, Liz. That's good. But thank you again for having you. I had prepared something, but my spirit this morning when I woke up led me to share something different with you. So bear with me, because I want to make sure that my goal is that when I leave here, you know something or recognize something within yourself that you may not have thought of. As Ashley mentioned, I do currently work for the U.S. Department of Labor, where I prosecute labor and employment matters against employers who violate federal labor laws. And I also have my own language access / access to justice consulting firm, Edmondson Consulting, LLC, where I work with different stakeholders such as court systems, school districts, law enforcement agencies, legal nonprofits, and other entities who are recipients of federal funding to help them make sure that they are legally compliant with meeting the obligations of federal laws that require them to provide language access services to persons who either speak a language other than English or may be deaf and hard of hearing. That is my passion. As you may have already heard, I started out as an interpreter before I went to law school. I was trained as a professional interpreter, and that was a very humbling experience for me. I always knew that I wanted to marry my love of law and language, and when I had an opportunity to be trained as an interpreter, I said, oh, this is going to be easy. I like to talk. They're going to pay me to talk. Piece of cake. And I went to orientation. I was getting trained, and one of the things that the instructor did is she went around the room. It was myself and it was about 20 people in our class, and I was one of 2 non-native speakers. So she went around the room, and she asked us to just simply say, she gave us a legal term and said, how do you say this in Spanish? And I'll never forget mine. Mine was bankruptcy. I had no clue. And that taught me a very valuable lesson in that moment, that one, in terms of being an interpreter, is more than just speaking the language. Legalese is a whole another language, and is a very highly, interpreting is a very highly technical skill. And so that skill has allowed me to really move throughout my career, whether it was serving as a legal aid attorney for 7 years, where I litigated various civil matters, whether it was domestic violence cases, whether it was helping children in school discipline or special education cases, whether it was trying to help a family make sure that they weren't evicted from federally subsidized housing, or helping a family make sure that they kept their Medicaid or their food stamps. Throughout that time, a lot of my clients were what we call limited English proficient, or LEP. And so those language skills would come in. And they still come in now in my present job, where sometimes I'm advocating, even though I don't have individual clients. I represent the client agencies of the Department of Labor that enforce the federal laws, but the workers that they are trying to make sure are being treated fairly and with dignity and are being compensated, sometimes those workers are belonging to vulnerable populations, including workers that are coming over on what we call guest visa work programs, and they don't speak English. And because of that, employers are exploiting them and not treating them fairly. But what I want to share with you is, over my journey the past 10 years practicing law, I've been reminded of and learned some lessons that if I could have told them to my college self, I think it would have given me a little bit more ease. I know there's probably no one like this in the room, so I'm going to just take a guess. Are there no type A personalities in the room? Raise your hand if you are not type A. That's what I thought. Type A meaning you like to have a plan. You feel better when you know what the next steps are going to be. That's type A. You like to be in control of what's going on, and when the control starts to slip, you start feeling a little anxious. So I'm going to say again, raise your hand if you're not type A. Okay, we have a few. That's good. That's good. So most of us are. Any Spelman College? Morehouse guy? Spelman hand. Okay. Good. I'm old. I just learned this. This is good. Okay. So that's good. Morehouse? Bennett? All right, my mama went to Bennett, so we're cool. Let's see, I'm going through my little family tree. Tuskegee. All right. North Carolina A&T. All right. Howard University. All right, HU. And we have tons more. So I come from an HB, we're going to stop there. Well, you're not in my family, Jasmine. You're not in the family. So I say all that to say, that's my Mitzi over there. They can't help it. They can't. The fam using it. They can't. But I come from an HBCU family. So I have love for all of the HBCUs. But if me at my 35-year-old self, if I could talk to my 20-year-old self, who was a junior at Spelman in 2004, what would I have told her? And like I said, these are the lessons. So, the first thing I would have told Jana is hard work is always in vogue. Never goes out of style. You never know who is watching you. And trust me when I say someone is always watching. And the reason that is so important, because we know someone is always watching, I would encourage you to make each and every encounter, whether it's 30 seconds, an hour, or it's an official interview, treat it like it's a job interview. You're going to be pitching yourself now, forever, and through your career. So hard work is always in vogue. Someone is always watching. The second thing that I would have told Jana is always invest in yourself. No one is going to take your professional development more seriously, nor should they, than you. If you won't advocate for yourself, if you won't fight for those opportunities, why should someone else be invested? Sometimes when I speak with mentees, they'll say, I didn't get this out of the experience. I was hoping that they would help me do this. I say, well, did you ask? Did you put it out there? It's not your mentor's job. It's not your boss's job to read your mind. It is your job to advocate for yourself. And it's the same thing with wanting to go to law school. As you're doing your personal statement, which is a pitch, right? When you're doing your personal statement, you are essentially sharing with that institution to say, you should pick me because this is what I bring to the table, and I bring it to the table in a way that nobody else can bring it. And I bring it that way, and because I bring it in a way that no one else can bring it, this is why you want me at your institution, because this is what I can contribute and help to contribute to your institution. That's essentially your personal statement. But that requires investing in you. What does that look like? Internships, studying. But when you get into law school, and we hear a lot about what? The grades. How many people have heard grades? Have you heard that? Grades are very important. So I'm not going to sit up here and say they're not important. But equally as important, and I'm going to just keep it real, equally as important are the relationships that you develop. Your grades won't really mean as much if you haven't developed and nurtured those relationships. People always are talking about what? Networking, right? How many people get a little anxious with networking? I know I used to when I was in law school. It can be kind of awkward, right? You don't have to be awkward about networking with attorneys and colleagues. We know you're looking for a job. It's okay. We know you're looking for an internship. It's nothing wrong with that. I see that you're on your hustle. I know when you call me, when you text me, hey, I heard. Do you? But I know. I've been there. So it's okay. It doesn't have to be awkward because I look at that young man or that young woman. Oh, yeah, I know what they want. But you stay in contact. You don't just contact me when you need something. You stay in contact with me. I don't care what it is. Hit me up. Hey, Merry Christmas. Oh, hey, if you celebrate Hanukkah, just thinking about you in the holiday season. Oh, hey, yeah, it's my Ramadan. I'm thinking about, oh, yeah, hey, how are you doing? Oh, Miss Edmondson Cooper, I saw this language access article. I thought about you. Stay on my radar so that when you then email me because you are hoping to maybe clerk with a judge, maybe I know him or her, maybe I have a relationship with him or her, maybe you have an interview at a firm, and I happen to know an attorney at that firm, I'm much more inclined and invested in helping you because you've been on my radar. I know how you're doing because you're nurturing that relationship. That's all networking is. It's nurturing the relationship. Not just one hit it and quit it. Hey, I met you. Let me get your card. You sent me one email. Nice to meet you. And then I don't ever hear from you again. So you want to make sure that you are nurturing those relationships because that is part of investing in yourself. Because I can tell you these jobs, a lot of jobs, they're not necessarily posted when you're getting out. And I'm speaking a little bit ahead. I know you got to get to law school, but that's even going to be for your internships in the summertime when you're a rising 2L and a rising 3L. My jobs weren't posted that I got. I got them through my networks. I got it because people said, oh, you're looking to do this? Call this person. My first summer job was working with the immigration nonprofit in law school. I met the legal director, who was a Spelman alum, because that's how we do. I met her at it was a Spelman alumni mixer. So this was the summer going into my first year of law school. Hadn't really gotten into the groove. I'm an anxious 1L. Met her. She said, oh, you speak Spanish? Oh, you think you're interested in immigration law? Oh, yeah. Do you have a job for next summer? I'm not even thinking about a job. I'm thinking about, am I going to make it through this first year? That's where my brain was. Am I going to be able, I keep hearing about sinking and swimming. Is Jana going to sink? I'm nervous, okay? She said, oh, do you have a job? I'm like, no. Oh, yeah, come. When I walked out there, I had a job for my first year. That wasn't posted. Then my second summer, I was able and fortunate to get an opportunity and have an externship with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission here in Atlanta because I always knew I wanted to come back to Atlanta. Wasn't posted. Again, another Spelman sister had to connect, told me, let me meet. I sent my resume. I got the job. Again, this is nurturing. So you want to make sure that you invest in yourself. So what was my first point? One was what? Hard work is always in vogue. And point two? Always invest in yourself. The third thing I would share with Junior Jana is always be your authentic self. Whatever is meant for you is meant for you. If someone can't appreciate what you bring to the table, it's probably not for you. Now, that sometimes gets easier said than done because, again, keeping it real, we need to eat. We got grown people bills. We got grown people obligations. Maybe it may be just you taking care of yourself. You may feel like your family is dependent on you taking care of them. You may have a child, just different obligations that are going on. At a very, very, very early on, I knew I wanted to have a life in public service. And so that really I really had to think about that and realize I was making one of many sacrifices, a financial sacrifice. My earning potential in the private sector, of course, would be way more than my earning potential in the public sector. But my heart was not in private practice. That's just, it wasn't where it is. It wasn't where, for me, and I'm a faith-based person, it's not where God had told me my talents lied. It just wasn't it. So I had to follow my heart, and I needed to be fulfilled. And so I was fulfilled doing legal aid work. Legal aid work was very fulfilling to me. It's very draining. But it's very rewarding. One, because I knew I was having a direct impact on people who otherwise probably wouldn't have been helped. So did I get rich off of legal aid work? Absolutely not. Did I feel fulfilled and love going to my job? Yes. So when I had some colleagues who were making the six figures, but they were also working 90 hours in a week and didn't have time to enjoy those things, I had a good little work-life balance. I had my little man, who's now my husband. I could take a trip here and there. When I clocked out. That was it. I could take a little vacation. That may have been a staycation, but I was able to take one. And so it was good. It was a good balance. But most importantly, I enjoyed what I did, and I made a difference. And through that, and like I said, I was able to develop and further keep going. I started with my consulting business serving as a legal interpreter. I did that in law school. That was my little hustle. That was my little side hustle. And so that was good. And then over the years, as my skills continued to grow and develop, I was able to provide more comprehensive services to stakeholders, helping them to understand and meet their obligations. And sometimes along that road, sometimes I had folks who were supportive and sometimes not. And I'll keep it 100% honest with you. The folks that sometimes weren't supportive, it wasn't because they didn't see value in my work. They were upset that I looked the way I looked and I was the one that was doing it. Because sometimes when I go into a room, often I'm the youngest one in the room. I'm the only chip in the dough, if you know what I'm saying. Okay? And it is what it is. But when I walk in the room, I know I deserve to be there. I know I have something to contribute, right? And so I want you to always to have that and know that yes, as you're starting out, as you are a new attorney, when you get into law school, you're going to be learning. And the different people that you work with and work for, they know that you're learning. They're not expecting you to have all the answers. But just because you're new and inexperienced doesn't mean that you don't add value. Because they wouldn't have brought you into the space and giving you a seat at the table, even if it's a provisional seat or a temporary seat, if they didn't think you had something to add. So you always have value that you bring to the table. And so you want to walk like you have value. Walk and know you have something to add based on how you grew up, what your life experiences are, whatever it is, outside of just the pedigree of the law degree. There's something about you that employer or that law school or that organization, whatever, they saw something. And so you bring you be your authentic self. But because I was my authentic self, and I'm intentional about being who I am and really promoting the ideals that I believe in, which are access, equity, and justice, that has served me well. And I've been able to transition to different parts of my career and do different things because I'm not willing to ever compromise, making sure that whatever I'm involved in needs to promote access, equity, and justice. Whether that's my day job with Uncle Sam, whether that's my consulting firm, whether that's any type of bar involvement, it all has to center. So I want you to think about, if you have not already, what do you value? And being an attorney, and people ask all, I say, why do you want to be a lawyer? Oh, I want to help people. That's cool. That's nice. But why? What is your why? What is your purpose? And it's going to take some time. It took me a while to figure out what my purpose was. But the quicker you can discern and be clear about who you are, whose you are, and what it is you're trying to bring to the table, then it's going to be a much less bumpier road for you as you matriculate through law school and as you are going through your career. Number 4, bring a positive attitude, passion, and commitment to every endeavor. If you can't give 150%, don't do it. Leave it alone. No one wants someone who really doesn't want to be there. And if you don't want to be somewhere, whether it's law school, that job, you're not going to be your best self. You're not going to give your best self. You have the rest of your life to establish your career. And so really be intentional, saying, do I really want to go to law school? Because sometimes people say they want to go because it sounds good. Oh, yeah, I'm a lawyer. They think it's fabulous. They think it's glamorous. You know, it's, you can make a good living. All of that is good. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you hate it, if you're not fulfilled, if you really don't want to be there, you're going to have a long next 20, 30, 40, 50 years if you don't really want to be there. So you want to make sure, again, that you are bringing a positive attitude, passion, and commitment. Now, that's not to say you're always going to feel that way. We all have our days. Sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like doing this today. I just don't. But that's temporary. We go through life. Sometimes you have better days, and that's okay. I'm talking about the long term. If overall you're not into it and you can't give 150% to whatever that endeavor is, you really need to think about, is this for me? Am I forcing myself to do something that I'm trying to fit myself into a box? When I was in law school, because I had gotten decent grades my first year, and I had made the moot court board and done all of the things that were considered, favorable for wanting to interview, I kept having the career counselor saying, you need to interview with these firms. My heart wasn't into it. I did it. I felt like that was what I was supposed to do. But my heart wasn't with being with a firm. It just wasn't. And so I was trying to fit myself into a box based on what I was told I was supposed to be doing. And then she finally said, you're not really into this, are you? And I was like, no, ma'am, I'm not. And so we kind of went and, went in the other direction. But again, you want to make sure, you want to be, it's part of being your authentic self. The fifth lesson that I would tell junior Jana is be just as aware of those who do not clap when you win as you are of those who do. I'll say that again. Be just as aware of those who do not clap for you when you win as those who do. Who can tell me what I mean by that? I'm a trial lawyer. I like participation. Yes.
Don't worry about the people who aren't there for you, but worry about the people who are here for you now.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have a? Yes, in the back with the black. Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Jocelyn. So I feel like when you say be aware of them, you're saying that you should know who also doesn't support you so that you know who to not tell certain information.
Ding, 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 ding. You got it. I wish I had a prize. Yes. So I'm not, you don't focus on those who aren't supported, because that's just life. Not everybody's going to like what you have to give. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. I feel like sometimes in the newer generation, especially in the social media, we want to be liked, we want to be validated, we want to have it. It's okay. Not everybody's going to like you. It's okay. You're not going to like everybody, and it's okay. You just want to be professional. You want to be cordial. Can we work together? Can we get it done? But we don't have to like each other. It's okay. But you want to be aware, because you can't share your dreams with dream killers. And there will be people, when you share dreams and certain things, whatever they got going on with them, which usually has nothing to do with you, they're going to be working to make sure, that's what he or she wants to do? Okay, let me see what I can do. So you have to be discerning about who you share with, what you share. You need a personal board of directors. I have an awesome personal board of directors. My mama is on it. My daddy is on it. I have mentors who are on it, who are in seasoned, different levels of practice in terms of experience. They are who I go to. I can trust them. They give me the real. They tell me what I don't want to hear. They tell me when I need to suck it up. It's not just the warm and fuzzies. They give me the straight, real talk when I need it. And then they nurture me when they say, okay, she might be about to lose it. Let me try and help her bring it in. They do that too. And that's you need to be able to have that. But at a certain point, I was naive earlier in my career. I thought if I worked hard, if I treat people well, everyone is going to support me, and I always get that back. No. And it hurt me. I had to go through some things, because that wasn't always it. It did. I was like, I don't understand. What did I do? What didn't I do? I hadn't done nothing. I did exactly what I was supposed to do, handle my business. And some people just didn't like it because it was the brown skin girl that was handling the business in this way. So you want to make sure that you are doing that. Number 6, and I'm going to wrap up because I know I'm running out of time. Know when to stay the course and know when to move on. Sometimes we feel like we just have to fix something, try and fix it. And it may be that internship that maybe you think it's not going as well as you thought it was going to be. Maybe it's not the environment. You just don't feel comfortable. When you get into your actual career, you may go, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. So I'm not telling you to quit. But sometimes we just reach a point where, you know what, I can't change these people. I've outgrown this space, this opportunity, this experience. It's time for me to now move on and do something else. You don't ever badmouth that negative experience. You don't burn bridges. But you do learn how to say, okay, time for me to fold them. Time for me to move on to the next experience. And you appreciate and focus not on what may have been a negative experience, but what did you get from that? Okay, I learned the type of law I do like to practice. Or I learned how I need to better advocate for myself. Or I learned that, sometimes I'm going to need to do things that I may not necessarily feel like doing, but it's what I need to do right now to be able to get, I think it was Denzel in Training Day who said, do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. That's life. You do what you have to do. And wherever you are, one of my mentors said this to me, you bloom where you are planted. So you may be wanting to go somewhere else, and I want to move, I want to leave, I want to do something else. There's a reason why you are there. And when it's time for you to move on, it'll be easy for you to move on. So you bloom where you are planted. And my last point, which I think sums up all of my points that I've shared with you this morning, is to know your worth. People will gauge how they're going to treat you based on the energy that you bring and you walk in the room. So if you walk in and you have your head down, you can't look, you're not bringing an energy that says, good morning, yes, I'm here, how are we going to rock today? I'm ready. If you're not bringing that, and they say there might be a little room to try and make you feel a little intimidated, sometimes they're going to do it. When I was a younger attorney, I will never forget. It was an older attorney, older white gentleman. I was practicing in a very rural area in Georgia. He had one tone with me via email because he had never met me. He didn't know me. Then we met in person, and after we met in person, it was a totally different ballgame as to how he interacted with me. Totally different. He underestimated me, which I love, by the way. Please do it. Loved it. He underestimated me. He would be rude. He didn't treat me with the same professional. He tried to call me out in court, something about how young, the ink was still wet on my law license. So I snapped back and I said, well, yours must be on papyrus. Whatever, we can do it. It's fine. And the judge kind of cackled because he could kind of see I was professional. It's fine. But my point is, I knew my worth. I know I had done the work. I had studied hard. I had failed the bar the first time I took it. Then I went back. I took it a second time, and I passed. So I was like, oh, you don't know what I've been through to get up in here. No, I'm going to be here, and I'm prepared. I believe in my client. I want to help my client. My client is believing in me. So it didn't really matter how he was treating me because I knew my worth. I knew that there was a reason that I was in that particular job at that particular time, and I was going to go and handle my business. So it didn't matter how you're treating me. And we had a few, after he practiced with me for a little bit, he started showing me respect because the best way to get the respect is to have a standard of excellence. It doesn't matter, you can be the youngest one, the only person of color, but if your work product is consistently excellent, if you're consistently showing up, you're reliable, you're thorough, it makes it hard. They may not like you. Again, it may be a personality conflict, but they will respect your work. And that respect for your work goes a long way. And so I want you to know your worth. So I hope that something that I said today inspires you, helps to keep you as you go on this journey of becoming an attorney. I look forward and hope to run into you to the future as my colleague. I believe you all have my contact information, but if you don't, I have cards. Hopefully there'll be a quick break before, because I do have to run out to a next event, to the best sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. But I do definitely want to make myself available. And people say that. They'll say, oh, yeah, email me, call me. I mean that. If I didn't mean it, I wouldn't offer it. because I remember sitting where you're sitting and reaching out to people, and they didn't. Now, I will say, if you email me and I don't just do it again. You're not bothering me. It's a lot going on, and I have this thing called mommy brain. I can look at your email, I'll forget like it never came. So I need you to work with me help you. So if you don't hear from me in 24, 48 hours, email me again. I will respond. I will make myself available because there are too many people that made themselves available for me. And I'll never, ever, ever be able to pay it back. So the only thing I can do, and I'm intentional about doing, is paying it forward. So do I have time for any brief questions, or am I out? No time? Okay, so no time. But thank you again to Evangeline for having me, and thank you for listening.